Hi, I'm Mark W. Gray, and this is my son, Noah T. Gray. And today is the first day of neural feedback. And what it is they basically put electrodes on your brain, look at your brain waves, show you your brain waves, and then it's like a video game you play with your mind, and it causes this neural feedback, which fixes the connections in your head. Now, first of all, there's nothing wrong with the connections in Noah's head. He is a genius, clever, cool guy, right?
Right.
And that said, he takes Ritalin,
Yes.
and Adderall.
No, not Adderall. Concerta.
Concerta. And why do you take those?
Well, I take them because I was initially diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome,
Yeah.
and it helps me focus during the day. Like, because part of with Asperger's is that I can focus on things, but I focus on everything all at the same time, and that can be kind of annoying, and I can't like really give my full attention to anything. So what it helps is it helps me like focus on things in school and not be completely strange and illogical.
It's going to start out like you've been on it since about 2001. Medication evaluation. It's 2000. So
Okay.
12 years. That's a long time. When he was like 5, you're 16 now.
Yeah.
When he was about 5 or so, he got at a couple of different preschools, and he got kicked out of a couple of preschools for biting a kid and being kind of hard to control. They said, oh, he has A.D.H.D. Then we went to this much more expensive person, and she did all this testing. I remember he was climbing all over the furniture.
Yeah.
And she said, well, nope, it's Asperger's syndrome, which is a thing. It's what they call an autism spectrum disorder. Whereas if you're like over here, you don't have autism at all. And if you're over here, you're like totally autistic. And if you're here, you're like Rain Man. Right. And if you're here, you're like Asperger. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're here.
Yeah.
Right. And they say, then they tell you it's cool because all these geniuses like Bill Gates and Einstein and things have that. Anyway, it's one of those things that's probably been around forever, but it's just something they thought of a name for. Yeah. And when I was a kid, they just called it, oh, he's wacky, you know?
Yeah.
And my thing was, do you want to really control this with drugs, or is it something you should learn to control just yourself? But then the thinking about it is, well, if you had a disease that you could fix with drugs, why wouldn't you? Anyway, but there's a whole thing about Ritalin, whether Ritalin's bad for you and good for you. I think it's probably, on the whole, good, and it's been useful and helpful.
It's been good and helpful and helped me kind of develop socially over time.
That said, it would be better to not have to take a drug every day for the rest of all time, right?
Yeah.
And now sometimes you take it, sometimes you don't take it, and you can tell a real difference, right?
Yeah, well, I can personally tell the difference in that I don't feel any different when I don't take it as opposed to when I do take it, but like I can feel socially a difference in that I behave differently. Because when I take it, I kind of think in a more directed way, or I think in a normal way. When I don't take it, I'm very out there, and I'm very I'm a little bit crazier. Not to say that I'm not crazy most of the time.
Right. But crazy in a positive kind of Robin Williams-y kind of way,
yes.
You mean? Okay.
Or Steve Martin-y kind of way.
Steve Martin-y kind of bouncing off the walls. And, crazy is kind of
fun.
Genius-y in a lot of ways. Anyway, this is another evaluation that he had done about last fall. And it basically, long story short, says he's like super clever, super high IQ, super genius at everything except processing speed. Right? Which makes sense. This is the connections coming from side to side. And all this fits with what I learned about how brains get this way, which is through like early childhood traumas. Like if someone's abused as a child, it causes attachment disorder, which can cause addiction and things like that. That's not his case. But when he was an infant, like being born, there was this episode of preeclampsia in the hospital where, because of the Pitocin, there was this moment where his heartbeat went way down and everything, and everyone kind of freaked out for a second, and everything was okay. But perhaps a little moment like that can affect your tiny baby brain in a way that makes it just, a
little bit slower,
a half a tune off, right? So, and my theory, and what I'm counting on, what I'm going for here, is that we can tune that up. And so the one low score on here is fluency, which is like
reading fluency, kind of processing towards writing and evaluation of things.
Right. Which, I remember when I was a kid, I was a really slow reader. I didn't really like to read books. I didn't read books for pleasure. And now that I'm old, I do. And I've gotten really good at just cold reading, and my fluency has gone great. But then again, I'm 30 years older than him, so it's not that much more time to get good at it. But so let's do it. We're going to do a little baseline test here. This is trying to tell him about it. Just a little fluency test. This is the preamble of the Constitution. This is
all right. Cool.
Let's see how we do. Okay, ready? So just read it. Relax. Think about democracy. All right, go.
Anyway. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure the domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America.
Okay, very good. You want the Gettysburg Address, or do you want If by Rudyard Kipling?
That's hard. I'll take If.
Okay, this is a great poem.
If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And, what's more, you'll be a man, my son.
You'll be a man, my son. Very good. Very good. So it's February the 18th. 2012. That's our pre-EEG baseline. They do a test, actually, this little very simple video game, which gives you a really hard science neurological piece of data about how all this processing stuff functions on this one very easy to track vector before this whole thing starts. The other thing about the EEG and the neural feedback is that it's not just if you have something that's off getting fixed. If you're also high performing, it also makes you even better. Like people who want to fix their golf swing go in there and do that. It fixes their golf swing. And they did testing on people who play the violin at Juilliard, like these music students. And after they took the neural feedback training, they got their teacher said they got 2 years better, or several years advanced of where they were before.
Yeah.
So you could become like an evil super genius off of this, who could lift things with your mind. Now, what do you expect? What do you hope happens off of this stuff?
Well, I hope that I become just a bit more focused and a bit more capable of just doing general schoolwork and such, but also that I'll become on the whole a bit more confident as a person.
Yeah.
Because I feel confident in a social setting, but I'm not very confident when, flirting with people.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You seem pretty flirty. You seem pretty, well, I think that's just being a dude, that's...
Yeah, well, that's part of being a dude, but... Well, I hope to gain from this my favorite superpower, the power of persuasion.
These aren't the droids you're looking for. Like that?
Yeah, exactly. And the levitating things when...
The levitating. Because if you could do that levitating thing, that is like chick magnet.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the Jedi going, boop, and the bra comes off. So if Noah gets Jedi powers and the ability to, to just, be an evil super genius, hopefully he becomes a good super genius and not an evil super genius.
Yes.
Right?
Of course.
Good. Because it's important to have a good moral sort of core at the get-go. Anyway, so this is exciting. We're going to go and get some real feedback, and we're going to do this sort of like a blog. We're going to put this on the internet, and so you'll be able to see the whole thing as it happens. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. You ready?
Yeah.
High five it. Spot on. All right.
And cut.
And cut.